welcome to the first episode of the Dazzling Beauty Show. I hope you can hear me. I hope that the sound is working very well. My name is Queen Choma. I am the director of UK's Dazzling Beauty. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching the replay. And I am so excited to see you, get so much value out of this show I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing it every day at 6 p.m. Every day 6 p.m. Hi, Vicky. Welcome. I'm going to be here every day 6 p.m. I've said that 3 times now. And I'm going to be doing it on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. So every Monday to Friday. So if you're here, say hello. Let me know if you've got any questions. Thanks for the like. I'm going to be talking to you today about pageant advice, giving you powerful pageant advice. Vicky says, hi, hon. Hi, how are you? It's so funny. I've watched the video that we've done recently, and it looks really good. So look out for it very soon. It's coming. I think it should be out hopefully by next week. So get excited. So basically, I'm going to be talking to you today about what you can do to really take your pageant game to the next level. I'm going to be giving you tips and tricks and ideas. Basically, tips, tricks, do's and the don'ts. So we're going to cover that today. If you're watching live, like I said, please do. Thanks for the hearts. Please do, let me know if you have any questions, if there's something bothering you, if there's something that you're frustrated with in the pageant industry, if you feel that you need some advice or if you need modelling tips, let me know. And also, if you can't hear me for any reason, please let me know because I would need to know. Okay, so let's dive in. By the way, my name is Queen Choma. I'm the director of UK's Dazzling Beauty. I started UK's Dazzling Beauty in 2012. And I did it as just a one-off thing, and it ended up taking off, and we've been continuing ever since. We've actually organised over 40 events, and some of them are photo competitions, maybe about 5 or 6 photo competitions, and the rest of them have been live events in London, in different places such as Brighton. We've organised quite a lot of events in Brighton. We've organised events in Essex and Sussex. Sussex, Brighton, kind of same place. We've organised events in Surrey, for example, and across London. And we also have done like pageant training days, we've done modelling training days, and we've also done lots of like live competitions for the UK's Dazzling Beauty competition. We have our grand final coming up in September. We hope that you will join us, and whether you decide to join us or not, we have good news as well for something that you can join us with online. So I'm going to be talking a bit about that in a bit, about how you can actually work with us online without even coming to the grand final if you don't want to. But if you can come to the grand final, you're going to love it. And whether you come to the grand final actually competing or whether you come just to watch, the experience will be amazing. It's a buzz that you don't want to miss out on. It's going to be in Hampshire this time. It's going to be in, we have had like a competition in Southampton before, but this time we're going to be doing it in Winchester, and Winchester is just near to Southampton. So apparently this is the biggest, or one of the biggest holiday inns in the whole country. So we've made sure to choose a really nice venue, and we normally organise all of our events at the Hilton or Holiday Inn, and they're both really, really good. Anyway, let's dive into today's topic. So I will say to you, the first most powerful pageant advice I want to give to you is, number one, you just have to be serious about, the competition, whatever competition you enter. When you enter a pageant, you've got to mean it. You've got to be willing to do the work. You've got to be willing to show up. And there are different ways to show up. So one of the ways to show up is to make sure that you actually reply to emails that you get in the first place. If you're getting emails and you're not really replying, that's going to be a problem. So if your pageant director is sending you emails, if you're receiving emails from any of the team members that are in the pageant that you're in, you've got to reply to them. You've got to show them that you're really interested in learning how you can be successful, learning how you can actually participate in the pageant, learning what needs to be done, the information that you need to know. And because if you don't know things, if you forget certain things, or if you're not really sure of this or that or the other, it will affect your career in the pageant industry. It will affect the way the judges will see you, because the pageant directors have to give feedback on how each contestant has been. And usually they may even also judge, not in all pageants, but sometimes they may judge, which also can, help or affect your chances of being successful as a beauty queen. Okay, so the next thing I'd say to you is make sure that you are showing up on social media. Make sure you create like a fan page and really promote yourself in the pageant world. Have a space that's yours. That's why I recommend having a pageant, like a page, like your own Facebook page, but make sure it's dedicated to the pageant that you're in. So if you enter Miss Universe, make sure you have a page dedicated to that. So it could be, for example, Let's say your name is Sarah. So Sarah for Miss Universe 2017. Or it could be something like, if you're in UK's Dazzling Beauty, it could be, for example, Kimberly for Brighton's Dazzling Beauty. Or it could even be Kimberly Brighton's Dazzling Beauty. So there's... Sorry, I had a pop-up. So basically think about how you can use your name, have the title that you have, or the title that you want to win. It could be, you know, Catherine for UK's Dazzling Beauty 2017. So that is one of the best advices, or one of the best words of encouragement, or whether it be, you know, something that I feel would be great advice for you, is to do that. And the reason why I say that is because the judges want to go to that page and find out what you're doing. They don't want to have to figure out where is this person on social media. They want to just be able to know you're there and that you really feel proud of your crown and title. You feel proud to be in the pageant that you're in. And plus, it's a great way to grow your fan page, and you can even do screenshots and print out different things that people have been posting on your page, whether it's, you know, if they're liking things that you posted, you can... Okay, so another tip I want to give to you is make sure you make appearances. I mean, I know that many of you know this, but this is something that you just don't want to, like, relax on. It's something that will really make you stand out and shine. I don't believe that appearances alone is enough. You have to mix it with other things that you do. Charity fundraising is another big thing, showing up with the charity fundraising. And I really believe you need to try and aim for raising at least £1,000. Obviously, it's not the be-all to raise £1,000, but I want to encourage you to push yourself to raise £1,000. I want to encourage you to push yourself to exceed that if you've already done that before. I want to encourage you to also figure out what other girls and women are doing that are very successful in the pageant that you're in, and learn from them. Because if they're raising like £15,000 and then you've only raised like £2,000, they probably have a better chance of winning that pageant because they've put in more work. In one of the most important areas in a pageant is the charity fundraising. However, that is still not enough to win the crown. What you do on stage really does matter. When you get there, the rehearsals, that, you know, the energy you put on stage, whether you're gossiping in the background or whether you're actually taking it seriously to show up at the rehearsals and shine, is really important. So I would say to you to make sure you shine, giving the best version of you on the day of the pageant as well. Really think about what clothes you're going to wear. Design at least one costume or get something custom made, because I think that then you have a good chance of really standing out. You can tell the judges that you've got this custom made. For example, we have a round in UK's Dazzling Beauty called the United Kingdom Wear Round, and that's a round we recommend the girls trying to sort of create their own costume rather than just sort of buying something. And even if you do buy something, you can get it blinged out. You can add some diamante to it, some accessories, you can add a slit, you can, you know, add a V or whatever it is to make that dress or that outfit a bit more original. Because the last thing you want to do is go along to a beauty pageant and then realise that another girl is wearing the exact same dress as you. Now, I'm a pageant director, but bear in mind that imagine a pageant director going to a pageant and meeting one of the contestants for the first time and wearing the same dress as the contestant. So this has happened to me before. Like, one of my contestants, we wore the same dress. It was really fabulous and everything, but at the same time, if I was competing, it wouldn't have been a very good thing. Because when you're competing, you want to stand out, you want to have the best dress, you don't want to be wearing something somebody else is wearing. So that's why I recommend customizing at least one outfit. Another thing I'll say to you is, you know, what kind of body language are you putting up? You know, are you putting out there when you're at a pageant? So are you looking in the eyes of the judges? Are you looking at the audience and making them feel good? Are you presenting yourself in such a fabulous way? Are you sharing important things about yourself that the judges need to know? So, for example, when you're asked questions, are you really answering them in a way where you're actually letting the judges hear amazing things about you and the audience? Or are you just saying things like, yeah, my favourite colour is blue, and that's it, but you're not really telling them why you love the colour blue. You're not referring to anything interesting. I think you should use a little bit of similes and metaphors. I think you should say, you know, for example, I love the colour blue because it reminds me of the sea, and the sea is so beautiful and it's radiant like me, or something like that. Like, just try and be a bit creative with what you say. You could, you know, for example, if they asked you, where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years? Don't just say, oh, I see myself married with kids, and I see myself, you know, maybe buying a bigger house. Like, try and give them something that would even also refer to the pageant that you're in. So it could be, I see myself raising bigger amounts of money for charity. You know, you can say you want to get married and have kids, but you can also say that I see myself being a role model for other women. I see myself going onto television and, you know, launching a book and possibly being able to do like book tours in the future. So you could say something like that will sound inspiring, impressive, that will sound like interesting. They want to hear things that are interesting. And even if you haven't achieved the great things that you wish to achieve, they want to know that you're on your way to achieving those great things. So another thing I want to talk about quickly now, like I'm going to move on now to so I've talked a little bit about the tips. Let's talk a little bit about the tricks. So, I mean, I guess one of the tricks I would give to you is Vaseline on the teeth. Put a little bit of Vaseline on your teeth before you get onto that stage so that you can keep that smile going. Because, you know, we have to smile for a very long time on stage. I don't do pageants anymore in terms of competing, but I still do have to, I present a lot and I'm always, you know, I have to be on stage and take photos. And so one of the tricks is to put Vaseline on your teeth, and it just kind of keeps your mouth like looking shiny and good, and it kind of stops you from closing your mouth in some way. It may just be a mental thing, but it really does do the trick. And this is something that all like the traditional beauty queens would do often, is put a little bit of Vaseline on the teeth. Another thing I want to say to you as a trick, it's not really a trick, but I would say to you to think of your own trick in terms of, do you have a party trick? Do you have a special talent that you can show the judges if you were to be interviewed and they were to ask you, you know, what's your party trick? So really think about that. That's like, in a way, a tip, but at the same time, it's a trick, because you have to bring that trick this time, as in, be willing to show off a little bit of a performance. And I'm not saying you should go into 1 hour's performance or even a 5-minute performance, just a little thing that you can do, whether it's that you can, you know, maybe you could show them that you're double jointed, or maybe you could show them that you can do a handstand or whatever. I mean, obviously, if you're wearing your evening gown, it may not be the time to show your party trick. But if there's a talent round, for example, definitely show something there. And if you're able to show something, if you're wearing maybe a sporty outfit and you could do something, you know, try and think about, or even in the pre-judging round, you know, come prepared, come to think about it this way. Judges want to be fascinated. They'll probably get a bit bored listening to all these girls come along and everyone's saying the same sort of thing. Oh, you should choose me because I do charity work. I'm confident. I'm kind. Blah blah blah. Like, of course they probably enjoy it, but when you keep hearing the same thing over and over, it's like eating chocolate and you eat dairy milk every day. It gets a bit boring. But when something amazing and fascinating happens, when they do a party trick, when they make you laugh or something, when they tell you something that's so unique, that's when you get the judge's attention. And another trick I want to tell you is basically the trick of, it's basically where you really just, actually I'm just trying to think of what trick to tell you, because I want to talk a little bit about like what you wear. Okay, so I guess a trick, it's not really a trick as such, but something that you should always bear in mind to do is to wear a white bra under your white dress or white outfit or whatever it would be. So if you're wearing, for example, a white dress or a white shirt, like let's say it's the fitness round and you're wearing a white t-shirt, do not wear black underneath it, because it's not a good thing. It will just it's like basically it's visible and it just doesn't really look right. I remember one of my pageant directors really hated that, like when I used to compete, she really didn't like that. So that can make you lose marks. You don't want to do the things the judges don't like, that can make you lose marks. Another thing that I would say quickly now in terms of tricks is, I'm just thinking about some of the best ones, because I've got like this list of 27 things that you can do to really stand out in the pageant world, and then I've got like a list of the things that the pageant directors don't like. But I would say that it's really, really important to, yeah, I guess it's not really a trick, but it's a bit more of a tip. Another tip is when you're backstage, when you get to that point, thanks for the like, when you get to that point where you're now just about to do, let's say you get to the point where you've hit the top, you've got to top 7, you've placed in the competition, this is the time to go back and rehearse your speech one more time. Make sure you bring a notebook, write out your speech, even if it's in a vague way, and really take it seriously, to go backstage and read it and kind of memorize and rehearse what you want to say. this is because we tend to get to a point in the competition where we get so tired, we get so like kind of like, oh, I'm ready to go home. Whoever is the most enthusiastic girl on the night is usually the one that ends up winning. So if you're bored by 6 p.m. or you're done by like 10 p.m. and the pageant's still going on till 1 a.m., make the judges see that you're so tired, you're bored, you can't wait to go home, your marks start to go down. So you need to keep high levels of that enthusiasm, and one of the ways to do it is find a moment when it's kind of quiet and just go through go through your speech so that you don't end up going on stage and just saying a bunch of rubbish because you're so tired or because you're so worn out or because it's been such a long day. So and then I'll say another trick. It's not like I don't know, it's funny because these tricks are not really tricks in a way, but I would say that one of the things that you should do is one of those ones that you shouldn't do, is don't drink too much water before you go on stage, because you're going to need to go toilet at some point. And when you're having that feeling of nerves and you're kind of like, oh, are we going to be out yet? And oh my gosh, I'm so scared now, this is the evening way around, or whatever it is, you're going to probably want to go to toilet a lot more. So I would say to sip on water rather than drinking water. So when you get that bottle of water, or when you get that, whatever it is that you decide to drink, don't just go and like gulp it down, just drink in sips, like sip instead. Especially when it comes to when you start to go into rehearsals mode, or when rehearsals are over and when it's time to start preparing for the competition. Do not start like drinking, just because you'll get to a point where you won't even be able to go to the toilet, and you may be standing on stage for like literally, it could be 16 minutes where everyone's been interviewed and you're like there like this yeah, so I guess that's it. So to continue with more do's and don'ts, thanks for hearts, or should I say the likes, the blue likes. I love likes and hearts as well. Okay, so the do's and the don'ts, I would say, I'm going to give you a couple of do's and a couple of don'ts, even though I've kind of been through some of them already. A couple of do's are, do make sure that you are engaging, like I said before, with the audience and the judges, but also make sure that you are just really not looking too much to the left or to the right, because what I see some girls and women do is they start looking like, what is she doing and what's she doing, and you start looking for her to show you how to do it. So for example, if you're doing a routine and you're a bit lost in the routine, instead of just owning it and just being like, okay, I'm going to be brilliant regardless, you start to look at what the other girl's doing as if you want her to give you some tips, and what you do by doing that is you reduce your power immediately. Even if you get the whole routine wrong and you have fun, the judges just won't care. All they want to see you is having a good time and just showing that you're awesome, regardless of how perfect you are or not. So it really is not about the perfect routine, because they know that you're not a professional dancer anyway, unless you are a professional dancer. Another thing I want to say to you is just to have matching makeup to go with the different dresses that you wear. Now, this is not compulsory, you can do things your way, but I think that if you have, for example, if you're wearing a green dress and you have green eyeshadow, I think this is just beautiful. It just makes you stand out that much more. Whatever jewellery you decide to wear, don't mix and match. Like if you're wearing gold, stick to gold. If you're wearing silver, stick to silver. Do not sort of mix and match. And these are my tips for now, and I'm going to really wrap up now. I'm going to come back and do a part 2 in a few minutes, so bear with me, because I want to basically go on to the next part of my training. So just bear with me while I just kind of wrap this part up, and I'll be back to do the second part. So make sure you come back if you can. If you can't, then just watch the replay. All right, then take care and see you in a second. Bye.